After seeing Aaron Boone get ejected this past week for something another guy in the stands said, which led to that guy looking like this as Boone was getting ejected, it inspired me to take a look back at some of the worst calls from umpires of all time. Let's get to it. Up first, I have Angel Hernandez's strike zone. We all just love Angel Hernandez, don't we? Anytime I see he's the umpire behind home plate, it brings me the same kind of joy as seeing presents under the Christmas tree on Christmas morning. Okay, obviously I'm kidding. Angel Hernandez is just really bad with the strike zone. All you have to do is search here on YouTube for Angel Hernandez's worst calls, and you'll see an endless amount of videos. On umpire scorecards, most of his percentile ranks are in the bottom half among all umpires, but yet Major League Baseball continues to throw him out there. Just last year, he posted the worst umpire scorecard in a game between the Nationals and Pirates, with his accuracy coming in at 84%, which was the lowest in 5 years. My personal theory is they just keep putting him out there so Major League Baseball can use it as a reason to eventually use robo-umps, and hey, that'll be much better than Angel Hernandez. Up next, I have Joe Nathan striking out Ben Zobrist. You know if a pitcher makes a questionable face on a bad pitch that got called for a strike, you know it's a bad call. Well, back in 2013, Joe Nathan was on the mound for the Rangers against the Rays, looking to save his 300th game. On a 3-2 pitch for the runner on, he threw a breaking ball outside that even longtime commentator Tom Grieve called it a ball and was shocked that it was called a strike.
Outside ball, call it strike three. I didn't think that Marty Foster was going to ring it up.
The camera then panned to Nathan, who couldn't believe it either. Up next, I have Chuck Noblock tagging Jose Offerman. Somehow, someway, the Red Sox and Yankees rivalry always finds a way to get involved in some kind of shenanigans. In Game 4 of the 1999 ALCS, with the Red Sox down 2-1 in the series, but coming off a 13-run outburst in Game 3, they tried to put together a rally down 3-2 in the bottom of the 8th. After Jose Offerman got on base to chase Andy Pettitte from the game, in came Mariano Rivera, and John Valentin grounded it to second baseman Chuck Noblock, who had developed a case of the yips at that time. Noblock fielded it and went to tag Offerman, but clearly missed the tag, but umpire Tim Tashida said he applied the tag. He then threw to first for the inning-ending double play, ending a possible rally for the Red Sox. The Yankees then went on to score 6 times in the top of the 9th and won Game 5 to advance to the World Series. If Offerman reaches second safely, who knows if that game could have gone a different way, and who knows if that Yankees championship could have gone a different way too. Up next, I have Joe Mauer's foul ball. After the Yankees spent big on CC Sabathia, Mark Teixeira, and AJ Burnett before the 2009 season, they were gunning for a championship, but had a tough task of getting by the Twins in the division round. After winning Game 1, Game 2 was tied in the 11th after an A-Rod homer in the 9th. Joe Mauer stepped up and slapped the ball to left, which was called foul, but it clearly landed fair right in front of umpire Phil Cousy. The Twins did get a couple more base hits after that, so if Mauer had reached second on that hit, the complexity of the game could have changed completely and might have changed the series. Up next, I have Livan Hernandez's strike zone. When looking back at Game 5 of the 1997 NLCS between the Braves and the Marlins, you might think, wow, what an incredible performance for Livan Hernandez. He struck out 15 batters. Well, yes, that is quite good, but let's just say he was given a bit of help. During this outing, home plate umpire Eric Gregg had a rather large strike zone, calling many clear balls as strikes, which helped lead to the 15 strikeouts. Of course, it did go both sides, and in the end, the Marlins did execute better in the box, but looking back, this was a poor performance behind the plate, especially for the playoffs. Up next, I have Matt Holliday called safe. The Rockies were red hot in September of 2007, winning 13 of their last 14 games to overcome a 4.5 game deficit in the wild card to force a 1-game playoff with the Padres. In a great back and forth game, the Padres held an 8-6 lead after a go-ahead homer from Scott Hairston in the top of the 13th. In the bottom half, though, the Rockies rallied to tie the game after a double from Troy Tulowitzki and a triple from Matt Holliday. Up stepped Jamie Carroll, who hit a fly ball to right. Racing home to try and score was Matt Holliday, who slid in and looked to have never touched home plate, but as the catcher scrambled to get the loose ball, he was called safe. Even after the play, commentators were saying Holliday's hand never touched home plate. If this call goes the other way, who knows if this game and that entire postseason could have gone in a different direction, considering the Rockies made a run to the World Series that year. Up next, I have Derek Jeter's home run. In 1996, we were witnessing the start of a Yankee dynasty, but they got a little help along the way from an unlikely hero. With the Orioles leading 4-3 in the 8th inning, Derek Jeter hit a fly ball to the wall in right, and despite being out of room, right fielder Tony Tarasco camped under it, ready to make the catch, until a young fan by the name of Jeffrey Mayer stuck out his glove over the fence and clearly took the ball away. What makes this worse is umpire Richie Garcia had a clear look at it, and he still called it a home run. If this didn't happen, this game and even the series easily could have gone in a different way. Up next, I have the A.J. Pierzynski strikeout. I still remember watching this game between the Angels and the White Sox. After the White Sox ran over my Red Sox in the division round of the playoffs in 2005, they went up against the Angels in the ALCS. After the Angels won Game 1, they were locked into a 1-1 tie in the 9th inning with A.J. Pierzynski at the plate and 2 outs. Kelvin Escobar threw a nasty splitter to strike out Pierzynski and seemingly end the inning, but while umpire Doug Eddings did call it a strikeout, he thought the ball had hit the dirt and wasn't caught, even though it clearly was. Pierzynski decided to run to first, and it paid off, being called safe and extending the inning. After Mike Scioscia tried arguing the call, the inning continued with Joe Crede walking it off moments later, and the White Sox went on to win their next 7 games en route to a World Series championship. Up next, I have Armando Galaraga's perfect game. Since Felix Hernandez threw a perfect game in 2012, we've only seen one, which was thrown by Domingo Germán in 2023. All in all, only 24 perfect games have been thrown in the history of Major League Baseball, but it should be 25. Back on June 2nd, 2010, Armando Galaraga was throwing a gem for the Tigers, and with 2 outs in the 9th, he was 1 out away from history. He induced a ground ball to first baseman Miguel Cabrera, which forced Galaraga to run to cover the bag. He got there in time, though, caught the toss from Miggy, stepped on the bag before the runner, and he had himself a perfect game. Well, all of that was true, except for the last part, as first base umpire Jim Joyce called the runner safe. After the game, he knew that he made a mistake and apologized to Galaraga. While most showed empathy towards Joyce, this was truly indeed one of the worst calls of all time. And last but not least, I have Jorge Ort being called safe in the 1985 World Series. After coming back against the Blue Jays in the ALCS, the Royals found themselves in the World Series against the Cardinals. Once again, they found themselves down 3-1 in the series, but once again tried to complete a comeback. Jorge Ort stepped up and chopped a ground ball to first, causing pitcher Todd Worrell to run to cover the bag. He got there in time, caught the flip, and stepped on the bag in plenty of time ahead of Ort. However, the umpire Don Denkinger called him safe, and the Royals proceeded to win Game 6 moments later, and then won Game 7 to win it all. So that's my list. I know there's a bunch of other bad calls in the history of the game, so make sure you comment them down below. If you can on the way out, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.